Well, my Jeep is packed with tires and rims. I like these. These are what, General, I think. But you can actually add studs to them because they have spots for studs. But they came without studs, so I think they allowed. I see them here, but I'm not sure. Maybe I'll do it, maybe not. But I ran out of room, even had to put one rim here. And of course, everybody's kind of like frightened after this last snowstorm, and our guys on the site were saying that somebody drove to Calgary during that snowstorm, and there were lots of accidents, and I came yesterday, and I saw that there was much more snow than in Drumheller, and so I got these winter tires. They were like $850 Canadian, and then I went in. I couldn't find any steel rims because of course it's easier to keep them on their own rims, so then it's cheaper and faster to swap them. And so I went to pick them up, and I said, can you bring him out, like open the door in one of your service bays, and I'll just bring my car? And the guy says, no, you can just take a shopping cart. And I said, shopping cart? Like, will 4 tires fit in a shopping cart? Just unbelievable. Like when it was with trucks, right? When you do something like that on a semi truck, the guys will always help you out, because I bought them online, and then the email I received said your tires are ready for pickup, and so I called them. I said, guys, I cannot pick it up right now. I'm out of town, but I'll come Friday or Saturday. And they said okay. And so I went in there. I said, you want the order number? They said, no, we just need your name. So I gave them my name. They looked through the bunch of paperwork in their box there. They found my order. We confirmed there was a pickup number in my email. And the guy says, okay, 10 minutes. Okay, so and the guy from parts, he says I have to go to the second floor and bring them down. So I didn't even realize that Canadian Tire has a second floor, because as a customer, all you can see is just single floor building, but looks like they have storage upstairs. And so some poor guy brought these 4 tires. They look pretty good, so it's the same. I did not change the tire size. I just stayed with the factory size. And then I see these rims, right? And I couldn't find them on the website for some reason. And so I said, hey, you guys have rims, right? Do you have ones that will fit my vehicle? Because they're different width, right? They can be wide and more narrow. And the guy says, go to the parts department, to the parts counter, and give him your VIN number or your make and model, and he'll tell you which ones you need. Because he said it's not so much about how wide they are, but it's about the bolt pattern, right? And I went there. I said 23 Jeep Compass, and that's what he says. Yeah, we have them, but they were a bit pricey, like $95 Canadian, of course. And I thought, okay, I'm gonna outsmart everybody, because I asked him. I said, when do you have availability to install them? I asked the Canadian Tire, and the guy says November 15th, like in 2 weeks. So that's not gonna work. And so I thought, you know what? I'm gonna go to places like this, like a quick oil change. Except not this one. This is called Jiffy Lube. I never liked them, but there's one called Mr. Lube that when I was in Cambridge, I always used them for oil changes because they were pretty good. Like the one in Cambridge, Ontario, I like those guys. They're very fast, very friendly. They know their stuff. And when you go there all the time, they have all your records there, right, on the computer. Like I can ask them stuff like, what type of oil did I use last time? and they can look and see, hey, you paid for this premium oil, you know. But now, of course, I don't want to do that. I'd rather go to a Chrysler dealer just to keep records in one place. And so yeah, I decided over here it's like a new franchise. They changed the nature. It's not just Quick Lube. It's called Mr. Lube Plus Tires. And I remember these guys helped me out when I had a flat tire on a rental car. I went there and they fixed it up. Actually, all they had to do was remount it and reinflate it. And they didn't even charge me anything. But back then, there was like a Chinese guy there, the boss. And so I decided to go there since, you know, I saw the guy was decent, you know. And so they open at 8 o'clock on Saturday. I grabbed coffee here at Starbucks and I was there at 7:45. And as I'm turning into the driveway, I was really surprised to see they have 4 bays. They're actually bigger than this place. These guys only have 3 bays. So they have 4 bays, and in front of each bay there were like at least 4 cars already at 7:45, and I see they're already open. Like they already have people with cars inside. And so okay, so I lined up in the shortest line, and some guy comes out. It's like -5 outside. He's wearing a shirt with short sleeves and shorts at -5, and he's like overweight guy, you know. Like those guys, they have no tolerance for heat, right? They like to be cold all the time. And so anyway, he says, "Can I help you?" I said, "Yeah, I was wondering if I can get my tires swapped." And he says, "Are they mounted or not mounted on rims?" I said, "I have the rims, but the tires are not mounted. They're separate." He says, "Well, then it's going to be 7 hours." I said, "Are you serious? There's 4 cars." He says, "Well, if you need the tires to be mounted, you have to go into those 2 lanes, and there's 8 cars in front of you, so 7 hours. Are you willing to wait 7 hours?" I said, "Okay, I'll stay." He says, "Okay, but just so I'm letting you know, so it's like 8 o'clock now, so you're not gonna be in until 3. And I sat in the car, then I decided to go talk to him. I said, "Hey, by the way, you don't need to dismount my tires, my factory tires, right?" I said, "I have steel rims that I bought for this, so all you have to do is just take off my factory tires, and once these are mounted, put them on." And this guy says, and by the way, and he's a different guy. He's not the Chinese guy. He's some kind of, you know, Mid-Eastern guy. And something about him, you know, is a bit shifty, a bit like he's not 100% honest with you, you know, because next thing he says, "Do you have sensors for the tires?" I said, "I don't need sensors." He says, "Well, if you don't have sensors, we cannot install tires." He says, "We can mount them on the rims, but I cannot install them on your car." I said, "Why?" "Oh, because there'll be a warning light." Okay. "How much are the sensors?" He says, "One sensor is $100 Canadian, so $400 for sensors, and plus probably, I don't know, half an hour for programming." And I'm like, "Are you serious?" And I look at this guy, and he's like, so like I said, so I call my friend who, like, this is my first time with winter tires. I always used all-season tires, but back then I did not live in Alberta, where here I see you need them because the the roads are much worse in winter than in Ontario, believe it or not. Like, I remember I never had this issue when I was in Cambridge, but of course I did not have to drive every day. Most of the time I was in my semi-truck, right? But I even had rear-wheel drive cars. But I remember once when I had that Mustang V6, I went to Florida, and on the way there I stopped at a hotel in Pennsylvania for the night, and there was a lot of snow, and I couldn't drive up the driveway to the hotel. I tried backing, because when you back, it's like your car becomes a front-wheel drive car. It usually works. Nothing. So I had to park across the street. There was a restaurant there, and of course it's just private parking. And I said, guys, I'm sorry, I cannot get into my hotel. Can I just leave my car here? As soon as they clear the parking lot there and the driveway, I'll move it. And they said, okay. And then later, like a couple of hours later, I saw a snowplow, and they had sand, and so I was watching from my window, and I moved my car. But that was no big deal, right? Because I didn't have to drive every day. Now I have to drive for work, right? So it's 125 kilometers from Calgary to Drumheller, and then back, of course. So Monday I'm driving there, Friday I'm driving back, and then every day it's about 7 kilometers, like 4 miles. And half of those are on dirt roads. And it's like crazy hills in there. And so, yeah, I need winter tires. And I wanted to do summer tires, but yeah, now people left good feedback on my channel when I mentioned that, and I realized that summer tires are not gonna work, because I like going to that public land, for target practice, and plus I drive on dirt roads. What if I'm still at this job in the summer and I put those summer tires, and you don't want to go on gravel and dirt roads with them, right? So yeah, I'm gonna keep these, but I know a lot of places they will let you store your summer or all season tires and rims, right? And so my apartment is pretty small, so that's what I'm gonna do. But anyway, so this guy says, it just gives me some BS about this $400 for sensors plus programming. And I called a friend of mine who does this all the time, who swaps, and he does it himself. He bought all the tools, even though he's like an office worker, but he always does it for his friends and his family. No, for his family, sorry, not friends. But he has that kind of like a racing team quick jack. He has a power wrench or pneumatic wrench, and he says it takes him an hour to swap tires. So he does not mount them on rims, like they're already mounted, right? So he probably went somewhere and where he bought them, they mounted them, and so now he just jacks the car up, takes off one wheel at a time, and then puts the winter ones on. And he says, yeah, on these new ones, on new cars, you're not gonna have a check engine light, but he says there'll be a warning that says low tire pressure. And of course, I already have a emergency brakes not available, like automatic emergency brake not available, and that's one of the reasons why I booked this appointment for Monday at the Chrysler, where I want to leave this Jeep for a week. And so it just occurred to me that, wait, since they will have my Jeep for a week for these other things, so the cruise control or automatic emergency braking, then the display sometimes doesn't want to come out. And also I said, check the fuel, diagnose the fuel system, because that car was jerking when I was doing a high-speed test. I think at about somewhere like 180 kilometers an hour, 5,000 RPM, the car started kind of like, there was a couple of jerks, like fuel was interrupted for a brief, fraction of a second a couple of times. So it's either injectors, but it's like when did I get this? Like July or something, right? So anyway, I thought maybe go back to Canadian Tire and get these sensors, but I definitely don't want to sit there for 7 hours at that stupid Mr. Lube. I have stuff to do. I have to pick up my accordion. And so I consulted with my friend. He gave me the idea. He says, why don't you ask Chrysler, right? And so as I'm sitting there in the parking lot of the Canadian Tire, because my plan was to go there and see how much these sensors are. So I started my computer, got my hotspot from the phone, and I'm sitting in the parking lot, and I went to the website of, I called CalTire. There's a popular brand, right? I mean, network, right? Franchise called CalTire here in Airdrie, just north of Calgary, thinking that maybe in a small town it's easier. She put me on, even before I could say what I wanted, she says, please hold. And she puts me on hold for like 30 minutes. And so I had to hang up, went online, found on maps, google.com, I found that CalTire, left a 1-star review. I said, I couldn't wait that long. She put me on hold without even saying hi or something. And so then I went online of this Chrysler dealer where I booked the appointment for this coming Monday. And of course, they all have chat now, like even though the service is not open, only parts are open on weekends. And it's not Sunday, just Saturday. But they have virtual, assistants. And I started a chat and I said, hey, and it's a live person, Eliza. It was Eliza typing. Can I have your name? I said, yeah, I have an appointment, right? Because I already have an appointment, which is, a big plus. And I said, you have my car for a week, so I just wanted to modify my appointment. And to those 3 things, cruise control, fuel system, and display, can we please add, tire swap? And I said, I'll leave the new rims and tires in the car. I'll drop off the vehicle at your location on the weekend, and then I'm gonna rent a cheap car for the week, because there's no other way for me, because over there everything closes at like 5 o'clock and I work till 6, but because there's a CalTire, there's a Chrysler and Drumheller, but they all close too early, right? So the only way for me is to leave my vehicle somewhere there for a few days, and so yeah, she said okay. So I said, please add this extra task, so I think you'll have time during a week to do this, right? Since you have my car. And so I said, yeah, please mount the new tires on the rims, install sensors, balance them, and swap them with my factory tires. And please clean them, wash them, because I know they have a detail department. I said, so I'm gonna write a note. So just wash the wheels, wrap them in plastic, and put them inside my car. And I'll pick the car up next Saturday. And I can probably pay them over the phone, or I can pay when I go there and tell them, hey, leave my key with the parts department. So basically, man, what a headache with these tires. But I'm thinking, yeah, I'm not gonna do some kind of a scratch in here. Oh, but actually it's on the outside. Okay. Because, when they have some defect, it might start leaking, right? But yeah, basically I'm thinking, since I like doing this stuff, I like doing this, small repairs. So I'm gonna buy a nice jack, a big one, and I'm gonna buy electric or pneumatic, maybe electric wrench, because I have a socket outside of my apartment, you know, where you can do like you can grill food, right? And there's a socket in there. And I tried it last time with the grinder, and it works. There's like power. And so I need some kind of and my parking spot is right there, but actually, I don't know, will they allow me to do this in the parking lot? I think the condo management might have an issue with that. So yeah, maybe I'll need something like, see, that's the problem when you live in a condo, right? Like my friend, he does this tire swap in his driveway or in his garage, but I don't have that. I don't have a garage, I don't have a driveway. It's all public or, you know, proportionate ownership. I'll have to ask him about this. But the plan was to get my own tools, the jack and some kind of a power or electric pneumatic wrench, and just do it myself. Because next summer, right, the tires and rims are already mounted, so all I have to do is just swap them, you know. I don't have to balance them, I don't have to dismount them. But I'll see what the management of my condo says. If they say no, you cannot do any even basic repairs in the parking lot, then I'll have to let a tire shop do it. Or maybe I'll just drive 4 hours north to Nisku, where my friend lives, the guy with power tools, and pay him $20 to do it. So we'll see. Anyway, so that's my Saturday today. Stuck with these tires and rims and no space. So now I have to go home because I have to pick up that accordion, right? But I don't have any room. That's probably a big box. So I'm gonna stop home and probably at least take out this rim so I have room here for the box. Oh, and one more thing. See, I bought WD-40. Not a big fan of this. I know a lot of farmers and truckers, they like this, but I used to spray this stuff on my binders, right? Because binders get rusty very fast. And what I found is that nobody tells you is that this is not for outside use. Okay, so in trucking, if you use this thing actually attracts dirt. Believe it or not, it captures dirt. And so let's say my binders are, of course, outside on the chains, right? And then you throw them on the ground when you're unloading or loading. And if you use this, actually I ruined a couple of those binders, right? And they're pretty expensive. And that's when I learned that you have to use, like some guys gave me a tip, and I started using a chain lube, like what you use on a motorcycle, because that stuff actually repels dirt, because right, it's designed for the outside use, whereas this thing is just it's for indoor use. But why I bought it is because now with this kind of weather, you know, one problem for me as a skid steer operator is that everything sticks. Like, you know, with the site is being built on a former farmland, and of course that topsoil there, it's all mixed with clay, right? Because they cultivate and they rake the dirt, you know, whatever the technical term is, and so it's very sticky. And yesterday, as we were working, we were filling some trenches, and then I look at my bucket, like, I don't know, 30% of my bucket is still full of dirt, and it's stuck, you know, it's like frozen. I look at other guys are okay, but and then at the end of the day, when I was cleaning my tracks, I also took the shovel to the bucket. Man, there was so much dirt in there, and still there was some spots left. And so when I came home, I did a quick search on Google, because I was thinking about this. For some reason, I was thinking that WD-40 can help prevent that. And sure enough, online they're saying that if you spray this, let's say on a shovel or your bucket, whatever, any kind of metal that comes into contact with dirt, This will prevent dirt from sticking. And of course, it's not my machine, it's not my bucket. You know, sometimes they tell us to swap, let's say, bucket for forks. And so you leave the bucket, you do your fork work, and then you come back and the bucket is gone, right? So let's say if I do this, this was like 11 bucks Canadian. So if I spray that nice bucket and then somebody else takes it, right? So basically you have to hide it somewhere. So next time, if I have to drop the bucket and get forks, I'm gonna, you know, hide the bucket somewhere so that nobody takes it. But yeah, I wanna try this trick, and I wanna report here. And this time I bought this fancy contraption, and in the back here, so it has some kind of a blocking system. So you have to push this. Let me see if I can do it with one hand. Yeah, you have to do this. You have to push this in, and only then you can open it. But anyway, and then you press, of course, to spray. Anyway, okay, so those are my news. So yeah, gonna be driving something small and cheap next week, like a small car, whatever. It's probably, I think now in winter they're not very expensive. I was checking the other day, I think it was like 35-40 bucks a day. And then I'm gonna drop off my Jeep at the dealer. And this guy is driving, holding his phone, and he's looking that way, coming very close to me. So anyway, I'm gonna go. See, like, these people are lined up. Actually, it says tires. It says they sell tires, but I don't see any equipment there, like any balancing machines. So they probably just sell them, but they don't install them. So anyway, coffee time. Gonna go and play with my computer, and then 11 o'clock the Touch Kebab opens up. I saw the guy this morning at Starbucks. I said, I'm coming in for some mantu, some dumplings. He said, cool. So now they open it like at 11 or 11:30, so I have to kill some time. And then after this, I'm gonna go home, take out one of the rims, and go to the post office and pick up my accordion.